Hey YouTube, Gabe here for Conflicts Games, and welcome to development progress video number 17 for in Exilium. This video I'm going to show off just some more kind of production value type things. So let's go ahead and dive right in. I've made quite a few changes to some of the visual effects and stuff in the game. So let's take a look. I think I'm loaded here into this kind of little mountain map, the mountain summit map, because I think I can show off almost all the changes in this one map. So first thing that I did is I changed the colors and the saturation and kind of added warmth to all the textures. So if you will, or if you kind of compare this scene to the trees and grass and stuff of previous videos, you'll notice that the trees and the grass and like a grass texture on the ground, when in maps that have kind of grass on the ground, uh, they all were like the same color green, and they all kind of blended together. So I went into all the textures, and not just for the trees and the grass. There are quite a few other textures that I went to and played with saturation and warmth and kind of values. And I think that this adds a lot more kind of depth look to the trees, and the kind of difference in color between the grass on the ground and the trees, and then the grass texture that's mapped to the ground looks really nice. Um, Also, you just saw a little bit here is I've added outlines to enemies and characters and other things when they go behind objects, so you can still see them. This was kind of a problem, especially with these big cliffs. When you run behind them, you couldn't really see where your player was, or if enemies are attacking you or anything like that. I'll show a little bit more of that off with enemies once I dive down into the next map here. Um, Let's see. Another thing too is I've added this kind of nice little space skybox around everything. I think it definitely adds a little more feel to the scene. That it's you're in a place in kind of a world, in a universe, instead of if you just have a pure black background or a solid color background. It doesn't add as much depth to the scene. Um, so this kind of just gives that feel that you're at a place in space. The game doesn't take place necessarily in outer space or anything like that, but um, just the fact that you have kind of that ambient background texture to look at just gives you feeling that you're in a place as opposed to just in this kind of voided area. Um, I think anyway. So I think it adds a good kind of cool effect um, that you can experience while you're going through the world. Um, all right. In the words of Vlambeer, I guess. Screen shake is probably one of the most important things you can add, and I already had a little bit of screen shake in there, but now I've added it to every single skill and every single um, ability that you can do that does damage or something like that, even the small ones. So if I unequip here and I cast a little energy bolt, see, so it adds even a little screen shake when casting that. It really just adds a physical feel to everything that you do. It's a really nice effect. Screen shake is awesome. Put it in your game. The next thing I added, environmentally wise, are these kind of small rocks everywhere, and you'd be surprised at the level of just detail that this adds to a scene. It just makes the scenes pop way more. All the maps pop way more. Before, I didn't have any of these kind of little rocks that you can just step over. Like, they had no obstacle or anything like that to the game. They just are purely for visual effect, but they add such a good. It's filler in the scene that makes it seem so much more real, or so much like there's so much more substance in the scene. Without them there, like you can just kind of get plain, uh, boring, ground textures, and it like this really does add something I think substantial to the scene. You'd be surprised at kind of what these small little tweaks can actually do to make a game feel a lot better. This is just kind of a cool environmental effect in this map here, these kind of floating uh, ground areas. You can't get to them, but I think they had just a nice little scenic view. And then I guess the final environmental effect that I'll show off is and they're most prevalent here in the Three Peaks map here. So in this map, you fight dragons basically, and each dragon corresponds to some element. Oh, I'll show off here. You can see if I go behind all these enemies, highlight in red there, so you can kind of see them if they're behind objects. Um, and here we go. You'll see. So now there's snow when you go down here, and you fight the ice dragon kind of guy here. He does a lot of ice attacks and everything like that. You'll see, there we go, I'll bait out an ice attack. Alright, and so I've added some snow environmental effects. And if we move on over to one of the other dragons here. There, so now some rain can kind of start. And I can add these environmental effects everywhere. This is just kind of where they're most prevalent. And this guy does kind of wind and attacks and stuff. So that's basically it. These guys are basically going to hand me a new one. All right, so that's all I have to show for this video. Short and sweet. Production value 2.0, so to speak. The next things that I'm going to be working here quickly. Here's kind of what I was talking about. So there's grass, ground texture here, and then you can kind of clearly see a difference in the color of the actual grass models and then the tree models. Like it definitely adds depth to the scene as opposed to everything kind of being a very similar green color. Anyway, so that's all I have for this video. The next kind of steps are I'm going to be making a new trailer soon with some of the new music that my composers made, which is really badass, basically. So looking to make a new trailer, so look forward to that. Then I'll be sending out kind of some press contacts and some sending out a preview build to some press contacts and some of my beta testers and getting some feedback from that, and then I'm going to start diving into the multiplayer. So look forward to all those things. If you enjoy this project, yeah, please feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel here. You can also follow me on Twitter. We have a Facebook page and forums and stuff on our site to get kind of the latest news. I'll put links to all that stuff below. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.